What's going on, Giants fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I want to talk about the breaking news this morning. The New York Football Giants acquire positionless Isaiah Simmons for a 2024 conditional 7th round pick from the Arizona Cardinals. And before I break down this move, I want to quickly remind all the folks watching to tune in to Big Blue Avenue. Follow us on our social media on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Big Blue Avenue. And I want to say this, Isaiah Simmons, this is a fleece for general manager Joe Schoen, a guy who was entering the final year of his 4-year rookie contract. And this was a guy who was drafted 8th overall in 2020. There was rumors about possibly the Giants being interested in him at number 4 overall before they ultimately selected Andrew Thomas. And I had the Giants taking Isaiah Simmons in that draft. And it turned out that we passed on him and we went the franchise left tackle. It was the right decision. Simmons, drafted a few picks later by the Cardinals, had an up and down first 3 years. There was no way the Cardinals were bringing back. They started fresh. Keim and Kingsbury are out. Austin Fort and Gannon are in. 5th-year option was declined. Last year, he had a career-high 4 sacks with 99 tackles and 2 interceptions. He's played 4 different positions since entering the NFL. Off-ball linebacker, pass rusher, safety, slot cornerback. He forced the game-winning fumble last year against the Raiders. And his stats aren't as awful as people make it out to be. Last season, had 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, and 2 picks on 99 tackles. 2021, 105 tackles. So it wasn't bad. His rookie year was a little bit underwhelming, though. 54 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 TFLs, and just 1 pick. But it's not terrible. It's not terrible with what Simmons has been so far throughout his first 3 years as a pro. And former Cardinals wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, who went to the Titans during the offseason, tweeted a little bit while ago that the Giants got a steal for a 7th rounder. And it was interesting because Simmons was playing in the preseason. He played 25 snaps for the Cardinals last week in their second preseason game. And he was playing safety. He went to the new regime saying, look, I don't want to play linebacker anymore. I want to play defensive back. And he wants to just stick to a position. I think that's been part of his problem since entering the NFL. He hasn't found a home at one position. Once he finds that with good coaching, I think he'll turn out to be a fine NFL player. Playing safety at his size is not easy to do. 6'4", 240 pounds. But again, this is a low-risk, high-reward option for the Giants. Simmons only set to make a little bit more than $1 million this season, and the Giants have no ties to him following the 2023 season. And looking at a guy over the course of his career, 50 games, has 37 starts with 258 tackles, 11 quarterback hits, 7.5 sacks, 7 forced fumbles. So he has a knack for causing turnovers with 4 picks and 16 passes defended. So this is a guy that can make some great things happen. But the preseason game, he wasn't looking good. Shane Buckler, the quarterback, he missed a play on him. And the Cardinals just decided, well, this is not working out. But to give up a former first-round pick that was drafted just 3 short years ago for a conditional 7th-round pick is a steal for the New York Football Giants. And coming into Wink Martindale's scheme, I think this is an awesome fit for him. Not saying he's going to put down eye-popping numbers, but to play on a defense that now has the likes of Bobby Okereke, Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Adoree Jackson, Xavier McKinney. Tay Banks has been impressive in preseason. This is now a really solid defense. It really is, and it's scary. It's scary. It's putting the NFC East on notice. The Giants are making moves to close the gap with the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Looking at what the Giants have in the secondary, there's been some injuries to some pieces in the secondary. Nick McLeod, who was their best special teamer last year, primary gunner, he's been hurt all of preseason. You don't know what's going to happen with him. Aaron Robinson's been on PUP, so the Giants are lacking a little bit at DB. I think Darnay Holmes is on his way out. Safety, they're young. They have a lot of depth. it's going to be interesting to see what happens because right now you don't know who's starting next to Xavier McKinney. Likely Pinnock, but you don't know. You don't know who's starting next to Bobby Okereke, if it could be Darian Beavers or Micah McFadden. Likely McFadden at this time. And the lack of edge rusher depth is concerning after Thibodeau, Ojolari, and Ward. You have Tamon Fox, who's likely going to make the team, but after that, you have O'Shane Zimenez, you have Habakkuk Baldonado, and there's just really not much there, which is why I think Simmons could possibly be an edge rusher. He can drop back into coverage and make some plays. But primarily, I think he's going to be a DB that Wink Martindale sends often on blitz packages and pressures. So I think we'll get a lot of QB pressures this year, a lot of QB hits, maybe force a turnover or two, have a few sacks. I think he'll contribute well to this Giants defense, but there's not a whole lot of pressure on him. When the Cardinals brought him in, they expected him to be the star of their defense immediately. Here, he just needs to be a role player. And again, you're giving up a 7th-round pick, ladies and gentlemen. This offseason for Joe Schoen was an A++. You acquired Darren Waller and Isaiah Simmons for little to nothing. So phenomenal move by Joe Schoen. Folks, want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, BetUS. You can sign up with our promo code below at Join125. Get a 125% sign-up bonus where you can bet on the go, anywhere, anytime. That's BetUS, America's #1 favorite sports book where the game begins. And one final time, Isaiah Simmons is now, 3 years later, a New York Football Giant. Folks, apologize for the background. The lighting is a little screwed. I'm on vacation, but if some breaking news happens, you got to provide the news out to the folks. And this is where you can find the news at Big Blue Avenue on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Appreciate you all tuning into this video. And without further ado, let's go Big